Good evening. Um, I was looking at EWTN yesterday evening, the news, and it was quite an event um, taking place about the destruction of the Twin Towers in New York by the force of evil, with two planes running into them. And there was the Vice President, uh, Kamala Harris, was in New York, and it was silent and commemoration, and there was a lot of people. That event that occurred in 9/11, as they called it, which was the 11th of September 2011, 20 years ago, or what it was in 2011, 9/11, and it was so it unified the country. The Pentagon in New York, in Washington, was people lost their lives. There was plane crashed into that, and laid the American flag down on that building in commemorating them. And then there was the plane that was heading for the White House, and the people come together, and one lad was talking to his wife and saying they were going to try and deal with these once that they knew what they were up to. But unfortunately, they did overpower them, but being the murderers that they were, these Muslim extremists from Saudi Arabia, they the plane crashed in Pennsylvania. Fortunately, it was in the country; it wasn't in a city situation, and so they were all killed. But they were commemorators, and in New York, all the victims are their names are commemorators. And even yesterday, it seemed to me that the country was united again in in, in memory of the people that was murdered, and that day, that terrible day, and also in Washington in the Pentagon, and of course the innocent people killed in the planes that were going somewhere, and suddenly these Muslim extremists from Saudi Arabia, most of them, them all practically from wealthy families. What good was wealth to the like of them? And they had trained in the United States just to fly planes, not to take off or land. Now, why the security services didn't cop on to that, and the people that was providing this, especially with these individuals, they should have suspected something. I believe somebody did, but didn't go far enough up to the top. And one of them was stopped boarding, but then some superior must have given the go ahead, one of these mothers. So that was the situation, and there was memorials to us all over the United States and in Washington and all the rest of it. But funny enough, President Biden wasn't at any of them. He was apparently at a new meeting in what do you call it? Not Pakistan, India, G7 or whatever their old country they're at. But he wasn't there. Very strange. And he was talking to some general or something, and then he just walked out like a man in a sleepwalking or something. Like he's a good age, but we're all good ages, but we don't do things like what he's doing. But then we don't have such an awful job because you're continuously in the spotlight, and it's not a good thing to be. You want to kind of do good, and he ain't doing good because he's pro-abortion, so he certainly would be confused in my book. But however, there was great respect for those that lost their lives, over 3,000, including a couple of hundred two or three hundred policemen and firemen, mostly firemen, and mostly all Catholics. They're the ones that come to the rescue. They're always good, do a forceful good. And they would all have Irish names as far as I know. And there was a lot of people from all over the world, including Muslims, that was killed in the Twin Towers. And one from not too far from here in Ballinlough, there's a stained glass window to the marvellous name of Patrick Michael O'Reilly. His parents must have had it done, they must have been from that area. And his brother and sister is mentioned there too. And there's a memorial to him, and this lovely stained glass window as you're leaving the church. St. Dipna's, I think it's called. Or maybe it's the Sacred Heart. But funny enough, I go to one of the stations across there. A lot if I'm going somewhere, and I hope to go to the recycling place in Kells tomorrow. I've stuff in the car. I've only another couple of things to do, and I thought need more space, but able to sort of juggle about and put it into something less bulky. So anyway, that's it. So I thought I'd just mention this about the mourning that was for all those victims yesterday on EWTN. I think it was the 11th. So when you get the news yesterday, it's the day before news. It's not just current. And I love to see the like of that and commemorating those that lost their lives. And we often commemorate our patriots that lost their lives in the fight for freedom in 1916. And I understand, and though it's not mentioned unfortunately by those now in political power, Conor Stray, of course, they said the Holy Rosary every night. So that was good. And they were all practicing Catholics, but they had the love of their country in their hearts and wanted to fight for freedom, because our brothers and sisters did it in 1798 and did it in 1800 and something. They just didn't want the British here putting their snout into it because they didn't seem to like the Irish. They were living behind big walls and all the rest of it. It was bad. So there we are. So I thought I'd just do that. This is a kind of an extra one that I did. Bye now. Enjoy your evening.